I was going to start talking, but the music captured me. Yes. That's a nice humping piece of music to log into a game to. Hello, Internet Demogen here, and welcome to the demo of Momogatari, or Momogatari? I don't know how to pronounce it. I am terrible with the pronunciation of things. Interesting. I can move the cursor, but I cannot click the thing. Supports your DualSense controller. This game should work great with your controller. It's not working with the keyboard either, so that's a thing. Oh! It is working with the mouse, weirdly. I assume that will get fixed up. Okay. Let's enable Steam inputs. No. Oh, there we go. Whoa. Okay. I'm assuming that's weapon swapping. Okay. All of that aside, first impression. Is it just me? Or does everything look squished vertically? There's something about this very opening screen that makes me think that everything's quite blurry. And everything looks really squished. We've got the right... Let's set that to 240, since that's my monitor resolution. Why is this so loud? This is really loud. Right, D-pad controls the camera, whereas right stick controls your weapon. Circle is heal. See, in terms of design, having just that tiny bit of screen maybe we're too zoomed in? I don't know, but aesthetically, something about this is not pleasing in the slightest. We've got no quick attack with this. We have to hold the button and wait. And we can't move while we're doing so. But we can spin to win. So it looks like when we kill a thing, yeah, it shoots a coin out. Okay, we do have... We do have a pogo, but because we're using stick controls, it's not super precise. Welcome to Yomi, a world where gods create without limits and creatures remain true to their ancient ways. Right bumper to launch a special attack. I'll do that when I've got something to launch a special attack at. Hello, giant teddy bear thing. You also look really blurry in comparison to the main character. Why? So, you've got the guts to stand in front of me, huh? What brings a tiny shrimp like you to a place that's more dangerous than a hungry demon at an all-you-can-eat buffet? I'm here to reclaim what's mine. No overgrown teddy bear is going to stop me. Reclaim, you say? Big words for someone who's barely taller than my toenail. You sure you're not lost, kid? This ain't a place for the faint of heart or short of height. My resolve burns hotter than any flame. I'm not turning back. No bear, no demon, and no amount of sarcasm is going to stop me. Yeah. Big words from a pint-sized warrior. Fine, I'll let you through. But if you end up as Demon Chow, don't say I didn't warn you. And hey, if you survive, maybe bring me a snack next time. Preferably something other than your bones. I'm not a huge fan of this font. And yeah, I haven't spoken about it yet, but in terms of line art, we've got a huge amount of incongruity here. Yeah, we've got background things with a thin line art. We've got us with a thin line art. We've got him with a thicker line art. We've got trees with no line art. We've got... Do I have a mouse cursor? I do have a mouse cursor. We've got stuff here that just looks like it's got an alpha channel edge, as opposed to, you know, any kind of... It's just very inconsistent, and it's all adding to this sense of this doesn't look right. The actual feel of the impacts so far has been okay. Why is this suddenly loud again? See whether that resets itself. See, he's fuzzy as well. Of all the NPC sprites, and this just looks placeholder. And it could be placeholder. Well, look who wandered into our little village. You've got guts, human, I'll give you that. But don't worry, I'm not like the others around here. I don't bite much. I've heard stories about this place. Didn't expect a warm welcome. Warm? More like lukewarm at best. But just safer for now. The others are out working in the forest, gathering who knows what for who knows why. Give us some peace and quiet, eh? I appreciate the peace, though I don't plan to stay long. Of course, you've got your own path to walk. Just remember, not all Bakemono are as friendly as me. If you ever get into trouble, well, just try not to. Yeah, that dialogue font is the kind of font that you would use for area names, or the game title, or headings. It's not I want to read that for every single piece of text font, in my opinion. Excuse me. Controllers. Heal spell, dash, yada yada yada. I'm gonna sneeze again. Oh. Oh, hello. Oh, does that just do that everywhere? Oh, apparently it does. Okay. Click on the right stick to open the inventory. Of course. No map. Skill trees. Okay, that wasn't working until I... Oh, that's working there as well now. So it looked like you need to switch tabs in order to get the thing working. And by thing, I mean cursor movement. Healing gem. Okay. Yeah, see. Again, I've got the cursor, haven't I? Dash, absolutely fine. But just make this a normal piece of text. It doesn't make things look better. It just makes things look a little bit ugly. That's going to be a double jump. Right stick to exits. That's an odd choice. Kung Fu Raccoon. I was trying to hit up then, but I was trying to attack up, but you've got to be very tightly hitting up, otherwise you will slide. Yeah, the movement doesn't feel tight at all, unfortunately. There's something very imprecise about it. No, there wasn't anything there anyway. I do like how the rock cracks. What is the red crystal doing? I haven't been able to tell. Is it health? You alright? Here, let me help. Stay back, human. Your kind has caused enough harm. Ah, humans did this to you. My people aren't kind to those different from them, but let me prove I'm not like the rest. I know of a salve that can ease your suffering. Why are you so eager to help me? I don't need a reason to save someone in help. I can prove it to you. I must admit you should promise by being different from your kind. At least you speak with consideration. All right then, if you can bring me one of the famous healing gems in the forest somewhere, If you can... That sentence got away from me. All right then, if you can bring me one of the famous healing gems from somewhere in the forest... No. All right then, comma, bring me one of the famous healing gems in the forest. From somewhere in the forest. Full stop. They say that they can heal any wounds instantly. Or, all right then, bring me the famous healing gem from the forest. They say that it heals any wounds instantly. Subject verb agreement. In that case, I won't let you down, Whitehair. Stay here. I'll be back before you know it. I will find this healing thing. Which we've already got. Here's the remedy, Whitehair. I hope it helps. Thank you, human. You do not need to put gratefully accept the remedy if you're saying thank you. It is implied. Thank you, human. You've surprised me. It was the least I could do. You're welcome, Whitehair. You can stop calling me Whitehair. My name is Usagi. Nice to meet you, Usagi. My name is Momogatari. As a token of my gratitude, allow me to teach you a new technique. It might come in handy on your journey. It will help you to cross this alley? Valley. And find the seal crystal and destroy it and the gate it. Like that I can be sure. What? I have no idea. Switch to double swords. Okay, so it's a dash move. Momogatari turned black when he consumed too much energy. Okay. Yeah, but it's not latching onto the one to the right. There we go. That just seemed utterly random. Huh? This feels awful. This feels really bad. We've got no directional control on these, and there's no telling whether it's actually going to hook on. Oh, so that's what that means. That's super clear. Thanks. Do I have to do this all over again? Yeah. This is, it's a very pretty set of backgrounds, but I'm not really enthralled by the gameplay. Yeah, there needs to be, inspiration needs to be taken. And again, the music has got louder. Oh, it's just resets. Because that's handy. And that... Did that save? Yeah, I can't turn this down anymore. My main system sound is now down at 30%. I normally have it at about 80. Switch to the first sword, but the first sword is the third on the UI. Right. Respawn here at the cost of something that you get very few of. Sure. Why not? Okay, that just didn't work. Yeah. Nah. Nah. I'm sorry. This is far too rough around the edges to be a demo that I can recommend as saying, oh yes, this looks like the kind of game that we should be interested in following. Everything looks like it's slightly squished. A lot of the background assets don't seem in any way finished, which is fine for a work in progress thing, but in terms of for a demo to get people hyped about your game, you should probably get stuff like this polished up. NPCs are blurry, controls are loose and imprecise, the font choice is poor. I'm not feeling this at all. Sorry about that, got disrupted. Right. So, thoughts, because there's no point me just saying, oh, this is, this isn't good, this isn't working, if I don't try and offer any kind of feedback as to why I think that is the case. So, visuals I've already talked about. We've got a mismatch of line thickness, giving an overall chaotic and disunified look. This is not uncommon with hand-drawn games in the slightest, but let's take this as an example. Back here in the distance, we've got some crates. They are decently drawn crates. It's obviously two of the same sprites tacked on top of each other. That's fine. Reusing assets is better on memory. These are nice and clear and easy to read as crates when they're in the background. So why is the foreground so blurry? Why is the foreground so blurry, but the main character, and I'm not talking like the real foreground here, I'm talking the actual ground that the character is walking on. If they are on the same plane, if they are the same distance away from quote-unquote us, the camera, they should have the same level of focus. And then stuff in the background, as well as stuff in the foreground, should be blurry. This shows a misunderstanding, a lack of understanding of basic things like depth and perspective, unfortunately. And it's adding to that feel of this doesn't work. If you want a recent example of something that works absolutely superlatively, go and play Voidrot. Or go back to 2017 and play Hollow Knight. This is, and this is going to sound really harsh, this is wrong. This is done wrong. I know that can be difficult for some people to hear, but it is not done correctly from an artistic standpoint. Go and check out other games, see how they do it. You will find that, I'm not just making this up for clicks or bait or whatever. I'm not an art major, but I've got a GCSE in art, and I do paint, or at least I used to. This is kind of the fundamental basics of art, the unification of depth and perspective to create a whole. So yeah, stuff in the background, blurrier. Stuff in the very foreground, blurrier. Stuff on the same plane as the character should be as in focus as the character is. I get that you might be going for a sketchier style with some looseness. I don't know how many people have been working on this. It could just be one person. I don't know. But it's gonna need some work. It's possible that this is blurry because they rescaled or resized textures. Again, it doesn't make any difference. People are going to notice the fact that we stand out too much on this blurry plane. So, aesthetically, we've got issues when it comes to this. Let's now talk about the abilities. Because of the looseness of these controls, the bash ability feels poor, and I'm going to call it the bash ability. Does it have an actual name? Yeah, and again, until I moved back and then back to the screen, I couldn't I couldn't do that. So I couldn't move the cursor around. Short range attack. Yeah, I don't know which of these I got the abilities for. Ori and the Blind Forest. One of the reasons people loved Ori and the Blind Forest, and why especially people really, including me, really like Ori and the Blind Forest and Will of the Wisps, is the bash ability. There's a point, it could be a floating projectile, it could be a fixed point, and you can latch onto it, and you can aim, and you can shoot yourself in a particular direction. And if you latch onto a projectile, shoot the projectile in the opposite direction. This has been copied, imitated, and in some ways innovated on incrementally by numerous games. You know, Voidrot has a grapple hook mechanic, but it's not as precise as the bash from Ori. Grime, with its force pull, whichever it was, is again very similar to that kind of mechanic. But what those have, and I'm including Voidrot in this, even though one of my biggest critiques of the demo of Voidrot was actually that its grapple hook mechanic didn't feel very good. They fixed it up for the full game, and it now feels much tighter. But it's quite similar to this in terms of mechanically how it works. You know, you've got to be in the right location around the point in order to fire yourself upward. But the thing is, in Voidrot, it's pretty much only used for vertical traversal. Whereas in this, it's very clearly being used for horizontal traversal. And because you only get one chance in this, you know, in Voidrot, if you're going up and up and up, then, you know, you fall and you hit a ledge, and then you try doing it again. But in this, if you're doing it horizontally, chances are you're doing it across a big spiky pit. So if you screw it up, you fall, and that's that. Yes, technically speaking, you could, you know, fall and then do it from beneath and then maneuver yourself and so on and so forth. But each time, you're going to be losing one of these health things, and then you're just going to end up dying anyway. Which is okay as a mechanic. I don't mind that if you want to limit our use of it. But if you are going to do that, then you need to make sure that the actual precision with which we are grappling, and I'm going to call it a grapple, with which we are grappling onto this point is right. Because if we think back to my first attempt at that, and I'll see if I can layer the footage over the top of this, when I was trying to head right, hitting the first of the grapple points was fine. Hitting the second of the grapple points was fine. But actually grabbing onto the third one was really, really flaky. It kept grabbing on to the second one, even though I was well past it, even though I was pressing in the direction of the third one. It didn't make any difference. I was too close to the second one because I couldn't get the horizontal distance. So either Devil Within Satgat as well did a similar mechanic recently with its lanterns. Somber Echoes is doing a version of this with its... Oh, I can't remember the name of the ability. The lantern thing in that, which I think is really cool. What else has done it recently? A load of games are doing this because people know that it's a fun mechanic, and it's not a fun mechanic in this. It is... It feels very imprecise and very poorly done. So it needs work. It needs a lot of work. I have no idea how far along in development this is. That of course closes the thing. Can I bring up? So this demo came out on the 6th of September. It's got a couple of user reviews. I'm not going to look at those. Do we have any information about the actual full game? To be announced. Demo updates. Beta? This doesn't feel like a beta. I'm going to be honest. This feels like an alpha. This feels somewhat prototypey, if I'm honest. What do we actually have here? It's a Metroidvania with frantic and fast-paced combat-focused gameplay where the main character explores the realm of darkness, which is filled with yokai and ruled by kami, all drawn from Japanese folklore mythology. Yeah, not a particularly novel thing these days. I think most people who have any kind of interest in video games are going to know what yokai and kami are. Sacred weapon that can change sword types instantly to match enemies and mechanic types. Explore the realm of darkness with the aim of listing a curse that saves someone did him. Yeah, that's fine as a setup and a premise. No problems with that. Vast interconnected world. Well, we can't see that because it's not in the demo. We don't have a map or anything like that. Metroidvania with frenetic, fast-paced, combat-focused gameplay. That's the same thing. That's not about the vast interconnected world. That's just the same as this. Art style and art direction. Being part of the Metroidvania fan community, we have a great preference for hand-drawn elements as well as 2D animation. By we, you mean you as the developer, I assume, because the Metroidvania fan community certainly does not have a preference for hand-drawn elements as well as 2D animation. This is about production, despite its difficulty and especially its time-consuming production. We made the choice... Being part of the Metroidvania fan community... Sorry, I'm critiquing grammar again, and I know that's really harsh, but I'm an English teacher. It's literally my job. Being part of the Metroidvania fan community, we have a great preference for hand-drawn elements as well as 2D animation. Full stop. Despite its difficulty and especially its time-consuming production, we made the choice to go with this artistic choice. Full stop. No, comma. In order to produce a video game that will be appreciated by a large number of players. Different style of combat and switch sword styles. Sacred weapon. Yeah, that's the same text as above. What? That being said, it will be difficult to master each of the fighting styles and even more to be able to combine them all together in a rather strategic way, which will take time to achieve, but no problem, solutions will be put in place in the game in order to achieve. Okay. Sword evolution, music fits with Japanese vibes, type platforming sections. That word there is doing a lot of heavy lifting considering what we're actually seeing in game right now. Yeah. If you are putting things like very well thought out mechanics in your advertising spiel, it sounds like you are trying to convince people, and perhaps yourself, that that is what you have done. You should not need to say very well thought out mechanics. That should be a given for a boss fight. Yeah, it's interesting that it's got these two games in particular mentioned here. Let's take a look at some screenshots. Yeah, this art feels unfinished versus the character portrait. The font isn't working for me. This all looks very squished and very alpha. These haven't even got any textures on them. We've clearly got some style here. We've got an aesthetic that is, fairly established, but what we don't have is the tightness of gameplay, unfortunately, to back it up. Yeah, I mean, just looking at the screenshots, see that there's a directional thing. So is this a separate ability? Yeah. At no point when I was playing this did I think, oh yeah, this is coming together nicely. This must be pretty close to to some kind of release. This feels very, very early. And if it's not, that's unfortunate, because it feels it. I'm gonna say this. I mean no disrespect when I say this, but I've been saying it in a lot of videos because I feel like it needs to be heard. The Metroidvania as an indie genre is horrendously oversaturated. There are so many Metroidvania games. You know, I mapped 40 this year. Admittedly, probably 7 or 8 of them were from previous years, but that's still over 30 Metroidvania games that I mapped, and I didn't play a load of games that came out this year. Metroidvanias are a very popular game genre to try and make for indie devs. They're also very ambitious to try and make for indie devs. And the problem that I know a lot of indie devs are now facing, because I have spoken to them, is that they're just not getting the sales because there's now a bit of Metroidvania fatigue. You know, it's a very saturated genre, but it's not actually as popular as a lot of people think. You know, everybody loves Hollow Knight. Everybody's heard of Hollow Knight. But even the most popular Metroidvanias that have come out in the last 5 or 6 years haven't been anywhere near as popular as Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight set up this expectation of Metroidvanias are quite cheap and they're massive. You know, Team Cherry, in retrospect, made a massive error in terms of pricing. They could have charged 2, 3, 4 quid more, and people would have still lapped up Hollow Knight for the amount of content that there is. But part of the reason why it's so popular is because it is so cheap for the amount of content that you get, and it has skewed everybody's perceptions, both fans of the genre and people who aren't fans of the genre that nevertheless discovered the genre through Hollow Knight. It's skewed everybody's perceptions as to what an indie game is. You know, a game that's under 15 quid that will give you 40-ish hours of content if you are okay at the game and want to 100% it. That is ridiculous value for money. So Hollow Knight is very much lightning in the bottle, and everybody is trying to recapture that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that that is what the dev is trying to do here. They're not trying to create a Hollow Knight game. But a lot of devs have seen the success of that and are saying, well, we want a slice of that Metroidvania pie. People must really love Metroidvanias. I love Metroidvanias. I want to make a Metroidvania. So yeah, we've got this issue of what is this game doing that will make it stand out from the pack? What is the unique selling points of this game, the USP? What does this game do that other games haven't done before or haven't done as well as this game? And that's what it's got to be. It's not necessarily have you innovated. You know, if you're going to do something that another game has done, you need to be doing it better than that game did in order to stand out. So if you're going to do a bash style mechanic, it needs to be done better. See, what's that? What's that? What's the shiny thing for? Why is it doing that? Why is it no longer grappling? And now it is. There's no clear explanation of why these things are doing what they're doing, and that is going to infuriate people. If it's annoying me, it's going to annoy people with far less patience than me. I have got... look at this. Look how these things are overlapping. If you are telling me that this is a game in beta, I don't want to laugh, but like the character isn't even standing on the same plane as we are. No. We've got these mushrooms in the background, which are way higher detail than the rock that it stood on. This just feels like a mishmash of things thrown together right now that needs a massive amount of... look at this. Look at this. As I said, this is just the edge of a PNG with no thought put into how the alpha layer, the transparency, is working. Don't get me wrong, there's some really nice assets in this. I like the thorns, for example. I like the silhouette of the thorns in the foreground. Although parts of it are less blurry than others, and that needs to be consistent. There's just a lack of consistency in all of this. Yeah, there's no... How... There's just no feeling of accuracy or consistency at all. And I think I think this section just illustrates my point here. This is really rough. Really rough. I'm not trying to shit on you as a developer if you're watching. It might seem like it, but I'm not trying to shit on you. But this is it's not good. It is what this boils down to. This is very, very early, and if you are thinking that this is a beta as opposed to a pre-alpha, don't get me wrong, some people will buy this. Some people will buy this because they want to support you. Some people will buy this because they don't care about the looks. Some people will buy this because they think the challenge is part of the experience rather than just slightly iffy precision design. Some people like fighting against the controls in order to prove that they are a quote-unquote gamer. I'm not one of those people. You know, if I want to fight against controls, I'll play a Souls game. So I'm sorry I can't really say much positive. I've been trying. One of the things about being a teacher is that I've been doing it for 23 years. Yeah, almost 24 years at this point. Obviously, the best way of helping a student improve is pointing out where there is room for improvements. But equally, if all you do is criticise, if all you do is tell a student what is wrong with their work and what needs improving, they get very demoralised. Because even though they might have improved since last time, you're still telling them about the things that they're not doing quite right yet. What you need to do is give them praise, tell them positive things, and then say, but there's still this that you can work on. So I have been trying, whilst going through this, to think about... I can't even get back over here. I've been trying to think about what I can say in order to like offer some praise. You know, what can I say that is positive here? And therein lies the problem. I can't really think of anything. You know, there are some nice artistic elements here. There we go. There's some things that look quite nicely drawn. Yeah, the main character is nicely done. It's clear that it's clear that you understand smearing as an animation technique. You know, it gives a nice sense of motion. The motion itself is far too floaty and lacks precision. There's some slightly weird acceleration on the jump. But yeah, there's some nice art here. I mean, I like the trees. The trees are quite nice. I feel like they're not necessarily quite moving right with the parallax, but yeah, I wish there was more that I could say that was like, I like how you're doing this, or I like how you're doing that. But oh yeah, here's something I can say. I quite like some of the humour. From a writing standpoint, some of the humour was quite nice. A lot of the grammar is not great, but some of the humour in the dialogue landed well for me. Yeah. So the Momogatari demo, I would hope that there's another 2+ years of development time coming for this, or at least 12 months. But if you were to update the Steam page and say, this is coming out in like June or something, 2025 rather, I'd be a little bit wary. I think this needs a lot of work, as well as a bit of an artistic refresh, frankly. Or you could just say that Derringer person is full of shit, don't like his opinions whatsoever, going to ignore him. Everybody is perfectly within their rights to do that. I don't think very highly of my opinions anyway. I'm just saying it as I see it from somebody who has got a reasonable chunk of experience with these kinds of things from an artistic standpoint. Thank you very much for watching, folks. Those have been my first impressions of the Momogatari beta, quote-unquote, demo. There's some potential here. You know, there is some potential. The weapon swapping is interesting enough. The humour is okay. I don't think we've really got... well, no, there's probably quite a lot more in... there's probably a chunk more in this demo that I haven't seen, just because I don't like the feel of the game. And that's what it boils down to. The gameplay feel isn't there. Look at Voidrot. Look at Hollow Knight. You know, as much as I hate the phenomenon that Hollow Knight has become and how the cult of Team Cherry is just like, all praise, all of these rip-offs are just base Hollow Knight clones, yada, yada, yada. One of the things that Hollow Knight did really, really, really well was game feel. And it had to, because of the nature of the combat in it. This could take some lessons for that. And to be honest, you know, a lot of indie games, Metroidvanias, could take lessons from the feel of Hollow Knight. Not necessarily ripping off the look, but the feel of the game. You know, play good Metroidvanias and get people to playtest your game. Maybe that's all this demo's for, to get people to playtest it and see what the feedback is. I think I've said mine. I'm going to peace out now. Thank you very much for watching, folks. I'll catch you all in the next video. Stay safe. Stay fabulous. Cheerio. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.